I was taking pictures last night of orbs, and I thought I didn't have it in movie mode, but I did. So I want to show you this one orb. I found a comfortable position for my arm to rest so I could hold the camera more still, although you cannot ever really hold a camera real still. But this is as still as I could get it, and there still is a lot of motion within the orb, as you will see. Now, I wanted to show you something else as well. I put some steel balls together with hot glue. Hot glue, everything. Anyway, I wanted to see if the shiny spots of light on them would make the same kind of orb as the glass. When I put glass together, glass will carry the light a little better and make a better orb. But just to show you, it's not something in the glass. I'm going to take you over to this other screen. This is the steel balls. I have several pictures. This is just one. And you can see this color and everything is in the steel balls. So it's not just something glass does. I see some of the same kind of little patterns that I see when I'm looking at the orb that the glass makes. But steel balls don't make as clear a picture. As you can see, these aren't all that clear. But they are definitely like unto the orbs that the glass is making. I did this not for my own sake. I know that it's not just something glass does. And I've proved that to myself satisfactory, but some people who view this might not know that. So I wanted to show you what steel balls do. Pretty much like what glass does, only not near so clear. Okay, now this was just me holding the camera as still as I could, and the glass as still as I could, and all this movement is going on. And I just wanted to repeat again something I have said if you've listened to any of my other videos, that this is light and it is a living substance. And I think most of our scientists have never really understood light, and I don't either. But the thing is, they have not understood it to be a living substance, that it has, you might say, feelings, that it thinks, that it is conscious. And we've seen our scientists do a lot of things to little photons of light, little atoms that aren't so nice, like making an atomic bomb. I don't think a little life force would want to be used in that manner. But it wasn't considered. And I think that we will get to the place where we can talk to light. I've read some books on my channel called The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. And Bayard Spalding and others, a group of scientific minds, researchers, went to India and Tibet and Himalaya mountains in search of these men that were talked of, that were called masters. And they met the masters, and they saw and lived with them, and they saw what they could do. And these masters, it was like in the Bible you read that Jesus multiplied the bread. Well, they could do that. They could walk on water. They could travel in the etheric and be somewhere within seconds. And it was nothing to them to bring, when they would be in a dark cave-like room, there would be light and there would be warmth. And these masters brought that with just their presence. They didn't have any kind of device, any kind of machine that was putting out heat or light. And so I've been thinking, there is a power that our scientists need to look into, and it's called knowing, because the master said this is something we could do too. Well, we keep trying to make devices that will produce free energy. And I've even thought, oh, maybe I could do that, which is a ridiculous thought because I know nothing about electricity and how to work with it. But I do know this. I know that knowing is a power. And it is a power little reckoned with by our scientific minds. And I do believe that we can call upon the electrons of the universe, because this is inside the atom. This is something the electrons are doing. And while scientists just want to say, well, that's just caustics, or that's Newton's rings, or any number of other light refraction, they can't deny that it is something. I've called it a lot of things. I thought of it as the etheric. I thought maybe records are kept in, not in written words, but in color and patterns. Records of events and things that have happened in the past. And who knows what all else. And I've even seen a little living creature, I call him Harry, that this camera actually picks up. He's not going to show up in this one. I usually find him when I'm moving around from orb to orb, and I will see Harry. He kind of is like a little spider. He just kind of drops down into an orb. I have other videos that show him, if you care to look for them. But this is something. And while I don't have the scientific sounding way of speaking, I do know I'm looking at something that is alive and that has a kind of consciousness. Because, for one thing, the little character I call Harry, sometimes I just call his name and he appears within just a few seconds. It's like he knew I was calling for him to appear. And I've made videos of myself doing that. And so I think this is a world that has many things in it. And I see light also with the naked eye that looks similar to the things that I see in this orb. That you cannot prove to anyone because no one else sees through your eyes. But I'm beginning to see light. Every day it gets a little more clear, more things that are in the light. When I look at the light without any glass, without any camera, I see all the light come toward me, but it doesn't come out as straight beams. It's curved, and they're very colorful beams of light. And even dark light comes from the light. There's spots where there's shades of gray. And I see these little rings like you see in this. There's a lot of little rings in that. And if you could see from in my still pictures, I can see the even tinier, hundreds of little tiny rings. It's like everything is a dot. Like Nassiam Harrimein was having that experience on the bus where he left this body and went way up in space and everything looked like a dot, and the further out he got it looked like a dot. And then he dove down back into himself and into his skin and body, and everything was a dot. And I understand that. I finally understand that because one day I was looking at bathroom tissue in the sunlight streaming through the window of the bathroom, and I could see the little threads of fabric of the tissue just kind of moving around like they do, you know, with the little breeze that's in the air all the time. And one particular little stringy thing I saw, I kept my eye on it as it got closer and closer to my eye. And I could tell it was the shape of a little string, kind of a wadded up little string. But as it got close to my eye, that little string shape became a round orb shape. It became the dot. I wish I could talk to Nassiam Harrimein and say, yes, everything is a dot when you get really close to it, or maybe even really far from it. And what is in our heavens, our big space, our cosmos, is in the tiny things too, because there is a law, and this is a Hermetic teaching, that as above, so below. It's called the law of correspondence. If you see something in the macrocosm, it will also be in the microcosm. So what's in the tiny is in the big. What's in the above is in the below. And this is the lacking information that most scientists don't. They have rejected the concepts that nowadays they call them, oh, that's New Age nonsense. But they need to look into it, because now we're showing it. I'm showing it to you right here. And if you think this is New Age nonsense, how is it that you can see it, is what I would say to them. And don't you think it needs to be studied by someone who can do a lot of tests and, as they do them, respect the little atoms of consciousness? But I think there's all kinds of other ideas that they could come up with for showing more of this. I mean, sometimes I think of it as, well, there's nothing in it that falls into any pattern that we know of. So it might be a thing. Hard to do repeat experiments and always get the same results. Because this is a living substance, and it does have its own consciousness, so I guess it does pretty much what it wants to do. But I don't think it minds being observed, and I think we need to observe it more. And someone besides me who has little knowledge of science do some looking into this and prove once and for all it's not just something cameras do or marbles do. Because as you saw, the steel balls make colors just like this. And Caustics doesn't move like this. I've looked at Caustics. Well, it does move if you're looking at water that's ripply. You can see the Caustics playing about on the bottom of the pool. But if you hold a glass object under a light and shine it down upon a piece of white paper, you're going to get what is called Caustics. And it's very beautiful. It has colors in it, but it doesn't have this kind of movement. And it's not got an orb that has rings around it. Now, orbs that I get a lot of pictures of, which I have thousands of them by now. Oops, that's over. Well, they don't move, because the still pictures show you the still motion. I lost my train of thought. See if I can get it back. When I look at light, I see these patterns that are in the light of color. I see color moving around, just like these pictures you're looking at now are showing. Only not as clear and not as big, because this camera will make what I see that's small, it will make it large enough for you to look at it and really study it. But I do see these things with the naked eye, only I can't show that to anyone. And that is always smaller and very fleeting. I can't capture one still picture of what I see that way. But we are surrounded by light. I think it travels through us because we are mostly empty space. And I think that this light is showing up what is in empty space. Call it what you will. Call it the Akashic Records. Call it energy. Call it the Etheric. Call it any name you want. But there's something there. And these pictures, I would think, show that that is true. Well, my time is about up, so I will let this end. And I thank you for your attention. This is the Dove Lady, over and out. Bye-bye.